So I'm here with my August wrap up. I read 8 books in August, which for me isn't very many. It's quite a lot less than I normally read, but a couple of things happened in August. I kind of hit a reading slump in that the books I was reading, I don't know if it was the books or if it was me, but I just, well, it was one book in particular actually, but I'll get into that. It seemed to really slow me down, and it was just like type thing. So yeah, I only read 8, and then I also started a new job in August, towards the end of August, which has taken up a considerable amount of my time, or more amount of my time, I should say. And so I've been adjusting to that. I have still been reading, just not as much as I normally would have done, but I'm settling into everything now, and everything's sort of back on track. So, as always, I have everything that I read typed up. So, the first book that I read was Playing the Odds by Nora Roberts. This is one of her McGregor books, where if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know her McGregor books are some of my favourites of hers. And it's basically a chick lit romancy type thing. It wasn't perfect. I gave it 4 out of 5 because Serena and what's his name, Justin, their book is one I've wanted to read for a really long time, so I did enjoy it. The next book that I read is a bit random, and that's The Outlaw Viking by Sandra Hill. This is historical / time travel romance. I took this out at the library a few years ago now, and I've been trying to hunt down my own copy of it. It's quite hard to get hold of, but I finally did. I just wanted to reread it because it must be about 5 years since I read it, and I remembered really enjoying it, and I had remembered quite a lot of the stuff that happened, but it was still nice to go over it again. And basically it's about Rain, who is a modern day doctor, and she's in this Viking museum exhibit, and there's construction going on, and like a brick or something falls on her head and she's knocked unconscious, and she wakes up in the middle of a Saxon and Viking battle, and she believes she's been sent to save this Viking guy, and it's very funny, definitely enjoyable. I gave it 5 out of 5. This is one of my guilty pleasure reads, and it was just so fun. I have read a couple of other books in her time travel Viking series thing, and haven't enjoyed them anywhere near as much as this. Some of them I've thought were quite bad actually, but this one I just have a soft spot for, so I really enjoyed it. The next book I read was Beneath an Irish Sky by Isabella Connor. This is actually 2 authors, and this is their combined pen name. I actually have a guest post by them, as well as a review of this up on my blog, so I will leave that below if you want to check it out. This was really good, and I do recommend that you check it out if you enjoy sort of family drama / chick lit. Basically, oh, what's his name? Jack Stewart. It opens up with him going into the hospital to identify his estranged wife's remains. Not remains, like just her body. She's been in a car accident. And then he finds out that she had a son, and so he's never really gone over Annie, but he's tried to she basically disappeared without any explanation. He thought that she'd gone off with another man, and he finds out that she has a son, and he's not sure if the son's his or not, and you get his point of view plus her son Luke's, and you find out some really deeply buried family secrets. You have Jack and Luke, they don't really get on, and you have them both finding love interests. I do wish there had been more romance in it, because for me, I like to have that little bit of romance. What little there was okay. I didn't feel it was fantastic enough for my standards, but just for what I enjoy, I feel like I would have liked a little bit more. But I still really enjoyed it, and if you like those types of books, you'll really enjoy it. The Secret was really shocking, and I think you could kind of guess it. You kind of sense undertones of stuff that's going on, and I wanted to see more of the backlash, actually. When the big family secret is revealed, I wanted to see those bad people get their comeuppance. I wanted more of the aftermath, you know. I wanted to know flat out if they got what they deserved, and I was kind of left hanging with that. I mean, they are found out, but I wanted to see where it went from there, and we didn't really get that, which was kind of disappointing, but overall I really liked it. Then my next read was the August buddy read choice for Emma, Ryan and I, and we were reading Wake by Amanda Hocking. Now, as I'm recording this, and probably as it's gone up, we won't have done our group chat yet, so I don't want to say too much, but for me this was a hard one because it's literally just over 300 pages, 310, and normally I would get a book like that read in 3 to 4 days at the most, and it took me like over a week. Something about it didn't draw me in very much. The first 100 pages for me were very repetitive and slow, and I mean, what it says on the blurb where Gemma, you know, wakes up on the shore feeling groggy and not really remembering what happened, that takes like 100 pages to actually happen. I mean, that's in the blurb. I felt there was too much build up. Overall, I did like the premise and the story, and I like where it's going, so I do think I'll continue the series, but I feel like Amanda Hocking's very hyped up, so I had high expectations anyway, and this just didn't meet them. I gave it 3 out of 5, did still enjoy it, would still continue the series, but it just didn't blow me away in any way, shape or form. Next book that I read was Someone to Watch Over Me by Lisa Kleypas. This is book 1 in her Bow Street series. I was just, after reading Wake, I wanted something really light and fluffy, so I picked a Regency romance. I have not read a Lisa Kleypas book before, but she's been recommended to me by a librarian actually a couple of years ago because I was reading Stephanie Lawrence. She suggested I check out Lisa. I did enjoy this one actually. Basically, a woman is pulled out of the Thames and she has amnesia. She doesn't remember who she is, but this Bow Street runner called Grant Morgan, he knows who she is. She's this famous courtesan, and he was basically rejected by her, or she started spreading rumours that she rejected him, when in fact it was the other way round. And so he wants to get revenge on her for making a fool of him, so he takes her in and plans to get his own back on her. But through the course of the story, it's found out that she is not this courtesan. She's much more innocent than that. This was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. I've read better Regency romances, but I did still enjoy it. And the last physical book that I read this month was Reason to Breathe by Rebecca Donovan. This was recommended to me by a subscriber. I'm not entirely sure who it was because it was quite a while ago now. And they recommended it to me because I like Heart on a Chain by Cindy C. Bennett, and because I bring it up all the time. And she said, if you like that, you should check out the Breathing series by Rebecca Donovan. And I made a note of it to check out at a future date. And then Penguin very kindly sent me the trilogy to review, so I picked up the first book. And this was another one where I found it quite hard to get into. The first 100 pages I found were quite slow, and they didn't make me connect to the protagonist very much. I thought the writing was kind of, I want to say basic, and it just wasn't a very engaging writing style. But once I broke past that first 100 pages, I started to get way more into it. I liked Emily much more. I felt much more for her situation. Basically, Emily is living with her aunt and uncle after her dad died, and her mother isn't fit to look after her. but her aunt physically abuses her. She doesn't like Emily at all. She is very violent towards her, causing her throughout the book some quite serious injuries. And so from that angle, you definitely felt for Emily, but her best friend Sarah knows that it's going on, and Emily convinces her to stay quiet. Now, I believe that if I was in that situation, my best friends would say something. So from that angle, it didn't really feel too believable, because Sarah knows a great deal of what's going on, and Emily does ask her to stay quiet, but I believe that a true friend wouldn't do that. The romance, I really liked Evan. He was really sweet. He wouldn't let Emily isolate herself. A thing that did bug me, her name's Emily, but her dad, as a nickname, used to call her Emma, so she likes to be called Emma. Emma, for a nickname of Emily, really, that's just lame. And then she's called M, so you go from Emily, Emma, M, just like pick one and stick with it. It really irritated me. Another thing I didn't like was we had like a love triangle appear for 100 pages or so. It was just stupid. I didn't like it at all. It was so unnecessary. This is quite a big book. It's over 500 pages. And another kind of big issue is I felt it was drawn out. A lot of stuff that was in there didn't need to be in there. Mostly the love triangle. I didn't enjoy that aspect of it all, but everything else I really enjoyed. The cliffhanger at the end is a really, really good cliffhanger. Definitely makes me want to pick up the other two books in the trilogy, but if I discover more love triangles, I will just cry, because I don't want that to be in there anymore. But overall, really enjoyed it. 4 out of 5. So the last two books are books that I read on my Kindle, and the first one is Fevered Souls by S.K. Falls. Right, where to start with this one? I didn't enjoy this book at all. The main reason for that being it felt like an insane Twilight ripoff. It was incredible. As I was going through it, all of the similarities were just absolutely incredible. I have a review ready to go up on my blog, but I don't think I've posted it yet. But on there I kind of list the similarities, and the more similarities I found, the less I liked the book. I can't remember the protagonist's name. She goes for a job interview to work for this company. She doesn't really know what the job is for, what the company does. But as soon as the boss walks into the room, he stops, he freezes, he goes all strange and tells her he has to leave. She has to leave. And then on the way home, she's attacked by some sort of strange creature, and he saves her. Won't tell her what it was, how he saved her, and then sends her on her way. And she basically goes off and does some Google research, and somehow manages to find out that it's demons. There are way more like similarities when you list them out. It was just the formula of it was the same. There was even sort of a love triangle thing starting up in there. There was even a Volturi known as the Astaroth. It was just too similar for me. I gave it 1 out of 5. I didn't enjoy it because the whole time I was reading it, I was like, I could be reading Twilight right now. I could be reading Twilight right now. That's just how I felt. Wasn't a fan, I'm afraid. And the last book that I read on my Kindle was Faithful by Kelly Elliot. This is the third book in her Wanted trilogy, which is a new adult series. I've read Wanted and Saved earlier this year. It's not my favourite like new adult series, but it's okay. This one I didn't enjoy as much because this was supposed to be Josh and Heather's book, We've seen them in the first two books, trying to liking each other but having issues. And at the end of book two, Josh is in an accident, and we find out in this one that he has amnesia and he can't remember his time with Heather. And you have his bitch ex-girlfriend trying to ruin things for them. And if that had been the book, it would have been really good. But considering this was Josh and Heather's book, we didn't have enough Josh and Heather. It concentrated far too much on all the other characters. We had at least 6 point of views in this. And it was just not necessary. I wish that had been scaled back and we had more of Josh and Heather. I do feel there's a lot of unnecessary drama in these books. And I'm starting to notice they're all starting to feel the same, especially the similarities between Faithful and Saved. It's just like you have a couple trying to be together, you have bitchy ex-girlfriends trying to break them up, they argue. It's just, this one felt very similar to Saved. But I did love Josh and Heather, and I found they were really cute, and I liked them, and just wish there had been more of that in it. Something I'm finding really disturbing, again the similarities between Faithful and Saved, is that the girls in this are 20. At the end of this, they're celebrating their 21st birthdays, and I'm finding it disturbing how much of the book is dedicated to them wanting kids and wanting to get pregnant and getting pregnant and giving birth. Like, I could understand that happening to one of the characters, but literally all the young girls in this series just want to get pregnant and married and have kids straight away, and I'm like, really? They all want to give up what they were doing to have kids right away? I find it really disturbing. And one of the characters is pregnant again and giving birth again before she's 21, and I'm like, I'm 21 and I don't want that. I don't want to be getting pregnant and having kids right now, so surely not every single character in her book wants that. I just feel like it's crazy, and honestly I'm finding it's slightly bit disturbing. So yeah, I gave that one 3 out of 5. I'm not entirely sure. And at the end, which is setting up for the 4th book, we have a repeat of more drama going on between Jesse and Scott, who are trying to be together, but people are trying to split them up. So again, formula. It's just I'm not sure about that series anymore. So that's everything that I read in August. I hope you guys had a great reading month. If you've read any of these books, please let me know down below in the comments. I always like to know. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading, guys.